Hi, Helen. Let's see what you did with this. I know that you said in your email you had some issues. Let's see what actually happened in your set here today. Okay, the benefits and the drawbacks. Let's see. Nowadays, some companies are more or less forced to relocate, get rid of that ED, just E, mostly to the outskirts of cities or the countryside. This essay will explain and explore some of the pros and cons why this is happening by giving ing. Here are some examples from personal experience. Okay, fine. One of the greatest advantages of moving businesses from large cities would be that it spreads the work opportunities across the country. For instance, if a factory needs to relocate to the north of Sweden, this gives more employment opportunities to you give something to somebody, to those areas that are suffering from very high unemployment rates. Furthermore, since the smaller towns are increasing their population, there will be a need for expanding. Okay, usually we use the noun here instead of the ing. Since one exists, you could have said there will be a need for expansion. And through that, even more job opportunities are created. For example, schools need to employ more teachers since more families and children will live there. Therefore, there's some great advantages for the country to move companies. I like this. I thought this was a great paragraph, Helen. Good job. No, it's really good. You mentioned something about writing too much, like maybe you should just stick to one idea. Well, even when you write one idea, you still have to develop it really, really well. So I think what you did here was absolutely fine. Your ideas were related. It felt like a nice, unified, coherent paragraph. So I actually liked it quite a bit. Let's keep going, see what you said. There are some disadvantages as well, such as it often goes too fast. Okay, careful, because what does it refer to? It's not clear. You've had so many nouns in the past few sentences that it's impossible to know what it refers to. So why don't we do this? There are some disadvantages to this trend as well, such as relocation often goes too fast. This way, what the it refers to is a lot clearer. All right, now I like what you're trying to do here, but grammatically, it's not entirely correct. We would probably talk like this, but we wouldn't write like this. So there are some disadvantages as well, such as relocation often goes too fast. Often, this is so fast that the infrastructure has no time, get rid of just, has no time to meet, uh, has no time to meet this speed, not meet up. Imagine if 400 new job opportunities were created in a smaller village. This means that at least half of the employees need to move to that area, and this will cause a string on no, not a string, a strain is what you want on the town apostrophe s on that town's infrastructure, since houses, schools, and roads need to be built. Passive voice, so it's with a T, not a D. Another issue would be that those who already work in those companies that are going to be relocated just have no possibilities to follow because of family reasons. All right, careful with some of the language here. Let's fix it. Another issue would be that those who already work in those companies that are going to be relocated, get rid of the comma. All right, let me try it one more time since I see where you're going with this. Another issue would be that for some of those who already work in those companies that are going to be relocated, they may not be able to follow because of family reasons, such as children or spouse that are not able to move due to school or work. This will lead to unemployment for those families. Hence, there are some cons, such as change of infrastructure in the rural areas and employment for those who are not able to move with the company. In conclusion, whereas there are some benefits such as new opportunities for rural areas, there are also some drawbacks such as higher costs for new infrastructure. All right, I like this. I like this a lot. Yeah, there was some awkwardness here. Okay, true. But on the whole, I thought it was a well-written essay. I don't know how long it took you. I thought you said something about it taking you a long time, but it was really quite good. I'm curious to see your word count. Let me just check it. Nope. Here. 322 words. So, I mean, yeah, know, you wrote certainly above the recommended 250, but I can't really say that there was anything I would have cut out here. I would say that that's certainly within the range that um, is logical in order to get a good task achievement score. So I can't really say that there's anything I would ask you to cut out. Okay. So yeah, I thought it was a good essay. Just be careful with some of the language, some of the grammar you use in this paragraph. That became kind of rocky. Okay. Now let's see what else you have for us. Okay. Here we've got a lot of people struggle with this because they just don't know what to do with it. What I want to recommend to you is really trying to find the commonalities. Okay, and we'll talk about it. I'll give you some suggestions if for some reason you don't quite do what I'm thinking. All right, let's see. The process, avoid this, is illustrating. The diagram illustrates different steps that are taken to make 5 different kinds of tea. Fine. Overall, there are several different steps in making tea. While white tea only demands 3 steps, oolong needs 6. When green, black, and oolong tea are made, they together have 2 more steps to take for the finished scent tea is made. All right, this is getting a little into detail, and so it doesn't really feel like an overview. It actually feels more like a detailed paragraph. Yes, you are talking about the main trends, but when you start mentioning like I don't know. I just felt like this got a little too detailed, and so I didn't really love that. I mean, granted, you didn't tell me what the steps were. Maybe what you could have done instead is overall, each tea type has a different number and set of steps. Oolong is the, I'm sorry, white tea is the simplest, whereas oolong is the most complex. Okay, and all the teas but white can be used for scented tea. That's it. That for me is a good overview here. Okay, it really shows the main highlights without going into too much detail. Let's keep going. Regarding oolong, I don't know what's going on. You wrote oolong and then you wrote kolong, so be careful. It's oolong. Regarding oolong tea and black tea, they have similar steps. Get rid of the. It's not the similar steps. They have similar steps. First, the picked leaves are sorted and rinsed and ready to continue on to here. The next step, that is whitening. Thought it was withering. We'll double check. The next step differs since oolong tea is, not are, oolong tea is put into baskets to be rolled or shaken, wrong word here, so that the leaf edges get bruised. Meanwhile, black tea is rolled into strips or cut depending on the color of the tea. Following a step of fermentation, full fermentation for black tea and short fermentation for oolong tea. Okay, that's not a sentence. That is a fragment. You could have said, what follows is a step of fermentation. That would have been a full sentence. Or you could have said, this is followed by a step of fermentation. All right, those would have made full sentences, but this on its own is not a full sentence. The drying process differs. While black tea only needs to be while black tea only needs to fry its leaves, VES here, no S, no apostrophe, sorry. Oolong tea pan fries the leaves before letting TTING them dry. Green tea follows, not is following, green tea follows the same process except the fermentation, and in some cases during the drying process, it can, no. And during the drying process, how about some jasmine can be added? Get rid of sense. It's not the right word. White tea is made in only 2 steps after being, no EN here. It's just BEING, picked, after being picked, steamed, and dried before it is ready to be served as tea. That's interesting. When, oops, hold on. What's going on here? There we go. When green, black, and oolong tea are dried, careful with your grammar here. When Greek, black, and oolong tea are dried, 2 more steps follow. Full stop. Firstly, some fruit and flower scents are added before cooling, and the tea is ready as flavored tea. All right, so this started off good. It started off strong, but then your grammar kind of got the best of you. Started getting a little murky and not really very accurate. I thought it was interesting that you decided to leave white tea for last. I didn't really understand that. I mean, you don't have to put it first, but I usually do just because, like, it only has two stages and then you're done with it. So I already told you what I would have done for an overview. Now let me tell you what I would have done with these. So I would have said that all teas, the four different tea types, all start and end with similar steps. That is, all begin with sorting and cleaning of the tea leaves, and all finish by drying. Okay? Then you could say white tea is the simplest of the four because it has only one intermediary step, which is steaming. And then you're done with white tea. Okay? Then the three remaining tea leaves, green, oolong, and black, all share their next step, which is withering. Okay? And then you can differentiate. So, I usually do this. So I would say green tea can be pan fried, steamed, or fired, after which it is rolled and shaped. Okay. However, this may be replaced by drying. Okay. And then I would say oolong tea, after withering, it can be shaken or rolled in baskets. Similarly, black tea may also be rolled, okay, but it may also be cut for broken black tea, okay? Both oolong and black tea have a fermentation process. For oolong, this is short, whereas for black tea, it is full fermentation. Okay. And then you can say oolong is the only one that has an additional step after fermentation, which is pan frying, and then it is dried. All right. And that's how I would do it. So can you see how I kind of organize it? I started with the beginning, finished with the end, and then I said kind of what goes on here in between. And I tried to connect things that were similar. Okay, so I hope that helps you kind of see a new way of doing this. I mean, you did pretty well, but I thought it was kind of weird that you decided to talk about white tea at the end. But I mean, those are choices that we make, so that's okay. Um, Okay, so you really do have one more task one, but honestly, you're supposed to send them all to us together rather than just like piece by piece. But I know you've been working really hard, so it's fine. I'll make an exception, but know that you're not really supposed to do it, and I'm not supposed to make an exception. But it's fine. So go ahead and take these corrections, and let's see that next task one from you. Good luck.